I don't want a teammate that thinks one series win is successful for the team.
Can I just start attacking this right now? I want to attack it right now.
It's not even Hook anyways.
It's
Shotzi. It's not even Hook.
Yeah, I'm going to defend the heck out of that for you, Malik, and I'm going to tell you why.
Back to back. I feel it. I feel like I'm on the cover of Lethal Weapon.
Beautiful.
My first hot take is that given their playoff run, the Dallas Empire are the best team in the CDL.
I am all aboard the Dallas Empire train right now. I was aboard the train from the very start of the Chicago home series where I just had a real inkling, the spidey senses were tingling, and I truly believed that Dallas could go all the way. They now have a win online, they have a win on LAN as well. Yeah, call Crimin online all you want. He's the winningest player in COD history. It's just the way it is. I mean, between he and Clay, they have a record. Their average placings in any kind of tournament is 1.375. That's where they place when they are together. That's good enough for me. The mere fact that they pushed their way through every single team at this event, no one took them anywhere near a game 5. They got what? They lost the rounds against FaZe was like round 11. It was the most incredible search and destroy we've ever seen. I just don't think that right now, the form Dallas is in, they're easily one of the top teams, if not the top team in the league right now. Will we see a different Dallas in the coming months? Sure. Will we have more data to work with? Definitely. I think right now, though, they're my number one team, bar none. Everyone's great. Dallas is better.
Dens will be a top 5 player at the end of the season.
I'll give you like 12 reasons why Dens isn't top 5 player and will not be top player. Envoy, Gunless, Simp, Abizi, Arcides, Dashy, Octane, Formal, Scump, Slasher, Scraps, Hook, Selly, and Priesta, to name a few, are all better than Dens in his current form. And thank you. You should give me 12.
I can't give you 12 points. I can't do that.
Absolutely not.
He's better than him in his current form, and those players will be better than him at the end of the season as well, and they will continue to be better than Dens. Now, listen, Dens, you had a great couple maps, man. Don't get me wrong, and you're a solid player.
Didn't you have an insane hard points?
But like Kismet,
we'll get that.
When you have a player like Kismet just flying in front of you, your stats are going to look okay. Like, your stats are going to look great because there's a player flying in front of you. Like, it's easy to pick up kills. He is not a top 5 player in the game. This guy's decision making is not top 5. This guy's influence on the map is not top 5. Kismet's influence on the map is better than Dens, and Kismet's not even top 5. Shock's influence on the map is better than Dens, and he's not even top 5. To say that is absolutely preposterous. I will never agree to that statement or even put him in the ballpark like some of these players that are on my list. Once this game develops and the teams start to catch up, Paris will not even be close to a top 4 team.
My hot take for the Seattle Surge is that they're going to finish in the top half of the standings when the season is completely over. I think we got Merc on the attack on this one. What do you think, Merc?
All right, so you're saying top half of the standings, right?
Yes.
That's the take. Okay, so that is top 6. Okay. Yeah. They are not probably going to catch Atlanta, Minnesota, Chicago, Florida, and Dallas, correct? Those are your top 5 teams right now, and most of those teams have an event win under their belt. Minnesota keeps placing top 4 consistently. I do not see Seattle catching them with the way that those teams are playing right now. So that opens up the 6th spot. That is the only spot that these guys could potentially fight for in my mind. But who has that right now? I look at 3 teams, London, Paris, and OpTic Gaming. Because we just saw in Los Angeles that OpTic Gaming has continued to improve. Who knows what's going on over there? I'm still a little bit worried about OpTic. But I do not think that the Seattle Surge right now are better than London or the Paris Legion. Plus the fact that we haven't seen New York in their roster change. I've heard some good things about them. So for me, I just do not think the Seattle Surge have what it takes. I just think there's way too many teams that are better than them. Yes, maybe they have had a tough schedule, but that's what every team has to deal with, right? Like, you have to be able to beat one of those top half of those teams. They just haven't been able to do it. The only thing they've been able to do is beat the Los Angeles Guerrillas. And, well, based on what we saw last weekend, that's not very good.
Dallas right now is the scariest team in the CDL.
I think Dallas are definitely the best team in the game. Going 12-1 map count is extremely impressive. That's about as dominant as it gets in terms of homestands this season. The difference between Dallas and the Mutineers, though, in my opinion, is that Dallas have had their same team throughout the entire year. They've adapted and they've gotten better. They still made it to 2 semifinals, although they did look a little bit worse. And this is the first time we've seen them in the new meta, and they absolutely dismantled every single team. You heard Crim talking about it. They stopped playing Warzone. They all started to grind. They started to practice, and they reaped the rewards reward. So I think we're seeing a product of practice, of motivation, and preparing for champs rather than just a fluke weekend winning because of the meta. I think this team actually got a lot better, and you could see it in their gameplay. They destroyed every single team that they played against. I think unequivocally they're the best team in the game right now, and I don't think that it was just a fluke weekend.
Florida, not a top 4 team. What do you think?
I mean, this was the only conversation really coming into this event. The top 3 were kind of solidified. It was who was that 4th spot. And I think coming into this event, we all finally were convinced it was Rokkr based on the win against FaZe at the previous tournament. We finally kind of had it locked in. Rokkr are the number 4 team. Now, I would agree with you, Joe. I believe if Florida didn't have to go through them to get this win, like if Rokkr had maybe lost a little bit earlier, Florida to get the win, I think there's more of a debate. But the fact that they beat them to do it is what goes on to solidify it for me. Because you think about it, Rokkr has 2 second-place finishes. Florida have a second-place finish, and now they have that win. If you think about convincing wins, for Rokkr, you beat FaZe once. You have 2 wins over Huntsmen if you're Florida. I just don't see how you can break it down and not say Florida are your top 4 team. Now, do I think it's very close between them and Rokkr? Yeah, I do without question. They're the only 2 teams in the conversation for that spot. But how do you do it? Florida have an event win, Rokkr don't. Florida beat Rokkr in the grand final. There's just no debate here for me. This might not last more than a couple of weeks. This could be a constantly fluctuating thing, but I saw enough that I'm convinced Florida, they're in the top 4.
I'm defending this.
I have no idea what I want to say.
I've never been more wrong about probably anything in Call of Duty ever.
I'm down 3.
Yeah.
This is going to be a tough one to attack. I mean,
he was the host of the show. You know what it is.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough to attack this one, but I'm going to go for it.
Go for it.
I'm going to go for it. Obviously, we saw what Chicago was able to do in London, and then they were tested. They were tested a lot, and it was similar to where they went to a Game 5. Well, FaZe, they went to a Game 5 against Minnesota. They showed that at times they can start off slow, and I believe that there is going to be a team that is going to be able to do it. When you look at maybe the teams that are attending this event, to me, there's 2. There's a Minnesota rematch if that happens, and there's the Dallas Empire. If they can play to their, top ability, then there's a chance, right? Like, there's a chance. I don't fully believe it, but you just have to. I mean, the depth of this league is insane. We continue to talk about it, and with this format, with this single limb, you have 1 slow game on Sunday, your tournament is over. We saw that with Chicago and Atlanta.
I think there is part of me that could buy into how competitive it's. I agree with it. It is very competitive, but buy into maybe it being an off day from them. They come in not prepared. They're a little too amped from their Atlanta win. If it wasn't for the mentality I know Crowder and these guys have.
Yeah, I know.
I know how prepped he has them. They don't really have a weakness in the.
Yeah, Clint, I know. Yes, I know. They're the best. I know.
They don't have a weakness in a game mode, but what's scary also is I think when you talked about their matchup versus Huntsmen, they're not going to be able to beat Semper because they're the best sub duo in the game. It has to happen in AR. What we saw from Celium was ridiculous. At AR with Celium, he might be the best player in the game, the best AR in the game. The kid's an unreal talent.
He's a flex too.
Where is but it was with the M4 we saw a lot of the damage done. I just can't find a weakness right now, and that's why you're wrong and I'm right, and that point was tough for you to argue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was tough. I'm going with the field, but I mean, the other thing is I picked, Taitan Celium. I picked him as my year MVP. So I believe in that kid, and I was happy with
I think he's arguing for me at this point.
I was saying the same thing. He's arguing.
What am I supposed to do? I've already thrown it.
All right, well, Joe. Under this new meta, the Atlanta FaZe are not looking like a top 4 team.
All right, I don't think FaZe are a top 4 team anymore. I mean, over the course of the last few months, we've seen them get continuously tested. They're going to Game 5 against teams that a top 4 team should not go Game 5 against. We've watched FaZe fall from being the best team in the game to who knows where we place them now. The Mutineers, you have to put them above FaZe 100%. Huntsmen just 3-0'd FaZe, bought them off the stage. And the Subliners also look amazing, right? You have to put the Subliners above them right now, in my opinion. So I have those 3 teams above them, and we haven't seen Empire. So I think in this new meta, Empire is going to be better than FaZe. You have players like Crim, like Clay, who are fantastic with the M4. It's only going to make them even better. You got to think Shotzi as that MP5 is going to be a BZ-like. He's going to be Zuma-like, if not better than them. as an MP5 going off. So they have a great dynamic and a great team for this meta. I think that those teams are better than FaZe right now. The way FaZe performed this weekend was just terrible. I mean, the last 2 times we've seen them in a match versus a top team versus the Mutineers, they got absolutely 3-0 smoked. We saw them play the Huntsmen, 3-0 smoked. They're not winning maps against the top teams. How can you put them in the top 4? I just don't see it being a thing right now. Maybe over the course of the next few weeks they can get better going into champs, but I can't put them in my power rankings as top 4 after what I've seen.
Who knows what's going to happen? It is a scary time to be an OpTic Gaming fan.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see anything. I can't see it any other way, really, to be honest. Maybe this is a hard one, man. We got to talk over it.
I said that I
Play
thought...
the clip.
I said that I thought this team, at some point this year, was going to be the best team in the game. Can we all agree, all of us, that it is not a talent issue with the people you have on this squad? There is so much talent. You can say what you want about Cap and his performance online leading in, but the other 4 are superstars. Like, there's no way around
I
that.
agree with that.
They were.
Championship caliber players.
Yeah. It has to be something internal. All that stuff we were hearing from Crim6 last year about he was babysitting the kids and TJ and Dashy weren't trying and how frustrated he was, I think some of us put it off a little bit because Crim was playing so poorly. But now I'm like, oh my God, Crim was right. Crim was right, they're children. Like, I just feel like he has to be, and I'm not 100% clued into exactly what's going on, but the more they suck, the more I'm positive Crim was correct. And they are children and they need to turn it around. So I think, if anything, TJ and Dashy, that young superstar duo, stop acting like babies, man up and improve. I know you're not on Huntsmen, which maybe you'd prefer to have all the fans behind you. I know you have 0 points. I know Slasher can be an but like, you need to improve. There's no reason this team should suck. When we're coming out of an event and my first thing is not like Cap needs to get better, there's a damn problem and I'm angry.
The New York Subliners are most likely to make a deep run, a dark horse run in the playoffs.
There's been a lot of changes, and I think given the state of change right now, I still believe that New York can make a very decent run. They've got Rokkr in their first round. They're probably going to beat those. They're not looking great at the moment. They've just made a change. We've got no idea what to expect. You cannot expect a squad to have just made a change like that to be able to handle a team like New York. I genuinely believe they're going to have a good game against the Huntsmen again. It's all up in the air for me, like in general, but I just still think the New York Subliners have got a very, very good squad. I still think the Zoom is fantastic. I think Max still can slay with the absolute best of them. I see no reason whatsoever why you don't pick New York to run this one home. I think they still have a good run against pretty much everyone in the lower bracket. They basically beat all those teams. Maybe Paris give them a tough run because they look good right now, but I just don't see anyone giving them a chance. Up until FaZe, I think FaZe is going to be the team to knock New York down, but after that, I think they're all good. I think they're completely fine, and they're definitely going to make that deep run.
New York can consider the Chicago home series a success.
Of course this is a success for the Subliners, man. They were rock bottom before this event. They were in the lowest of the lows. They were going through team changes, not knowing if anyone was going to work out, and then all of a sudden, boom, Mac Melts comes in his debut performance in the CDL. He drops 45 versus Chicago. They have the toughest pool possible. They take on all comers and they roll with it. They don't beat FaZe, but they got all the way with them. They take a search and destroy off of them. That was impressive enough for a team that could not scrape together a win against anyone to be going toe-to-toe with squads like that now. I have to see that as a success.
And so what was the language you were using though, Miles? You said rock bottom, bottom of the barrel.
Bottom.
After their, quote, successful tournament, where are they? At the very bottom.
They're still
in the
at the
exact
bottom.
same spot in the 11th seed with only 20 CDL points, tied with all these other teams that have not had success, like the OpTics, like the Guerrillas of the world, like the Toronto Ultra. Bottom of the barrel still, even after their, quote, success.
At least now they have hope, Chance. They have some thing on the horizon to look forward to. Before it was just like, we're going to get smoked. We're just getting farmed for points right now. Now you're seeing them take those series. There's a chance.
Is there any hope for the Seattle Surge to finish in the top half of the standings?
Yeah, there's absolutely hope. I mean, it's hard because there's so many teams. We're talking about 1 out of the other, 7 that are going to fight for that 6th spot. But this is why I find myself kind of believing in them, because like you said, they're pushing teams the distance. They've been playing people tough. We know how many Game 5s they've gone to. And I think it's less about gameplay. I really, really think it's less about gameplay. These guys have got to get out of their own heads. I mean, since the beginning, there has been something in every event that one of these guys is whining about, whether it's the format of the tournament, how long they have to wait to play on a certain day, the spawns on a game, the fact that it's now online. There are so many excuses coming out of this team. If they could instead instead of looking at every single other element of this entire thing, focus on just improving themselves. I think it would work miracles for this team. It was sort of what I talked about with OpTic early in the year. They need to stop making excuses, stop complaining about the game and everything around it, and just focus on improving. If they can somehow change that mentality, I think they have a really good shot to get into the 6th place. Because Damon finally tweeted something last night that I liked when he just said, if we could win S&D, imagine where we'd be. Like, yes, you'd be getting to grand finals if suddenly your S&D was better. They're 3-12 at S&D right now. It's horrific. But do I think with those players on that squad that they can improve and search and destroy? I think they absolutely can. They just have to get that at least closer to like a 50-50 type win rate, and suddenly they're knocking some of these top dogs out. So instead of all the bitching, all the whining, all the griping, they have to focus on improving, because right now they're horrific. They are one of the most disappointing teams in the history of Call of Duty esports when you take a look at the talent on that roster, but they have the potential to improve. You have veterans all over the board. You have talent all over the place. They need to just get back to the basics, focus on search and destroy, get better, and start performing. It's possible, but I'm just sick of all the whining. Just focus on getting better. Stop blaming everything else.
The Royal Ravens will finish the season top 4. Now, Chance, could you tell the people why that is 100% factual?
100% factual, of course. I can predict the future. I am a seer. So not factual, but I think you have a very reasonable, very strong argument for Ravens being top 4, right? Like, who are the teams that they need to pass? The Florida Mutineers and the Minnesota Rokkr. The Rokkr are like 40 points above them, I think, in the standings right now, which is quite a ways to go. But the Rokkr can't even make it out of groups anymore. They've been struggling like crazy in the online format with these tournaments, so their point production has not been very high. The Ravens look fantastic. They go from barely earning 10, occasionally 20 points at a tournament. Now they're placing second, looking incredible with the roster change that they made. So I think very reasonably they could catch Rokkr, because those guys are in a rut. And then for the Florida Mutineers, I'm not really convinced about this team being like a top 5 roster right now. I think their like potential, their skill cap is that high, but I think on a consistent basis, they're not really gonna put up the same level of production that I think this new Ravens team absolutely can. I think they look incredible. I think they have a lot more consistency of the respawns. I think their S&D is actually a little bit crazy. They have a pretty deep map pool, especially when Wuskins is apparently the best sniper in the game. So they're 20 points down on the Florida Mutineers. I think they could catch those guys no problem. They're a little bit of ways down from the Rokkr, but the Rokkr are not the same team they were at the start of the year, so the Ravens could definitely catch up to them. And then it's about making sure that no one can surpass the Ravens. And of course, the team that's closest to beating them, at least in the standings, the one team that's right below them, is OpTic, who, yes, they look great, but they just had the head-to-head matchup at the most recent event. Ravens beat them in a game 5, so yes, it's close, but they already have that edge. They look incredible as a team, and that's only on a couple days, maybe a week or so of practice. I think they're going to be good to go to get that top 4, and potentially even a little bit higher. I think they are a threat to start beating these top teams.
Despite their success this weekend, the Seattle Surge need to make a roster change. Miles, if I'm not mistaken, you don't actually think that anything like that is necessary. Can you tell me why that is?
I think that the Seattle Surge are on the rise, man. I mean, they're still farming the Guerrillas for points, and that's okay. They can keep doing that all season long as you know they keep getting them in the same groups. For me right now, the Seattle Surge, again, it's on the up. They managed to finally get into the semifinals. They have competitive series against both Dallas and against Atlanta. They take a search and destroy from Atlanta. Finally, the woes for Seattle are starting to change. Do they have what it takes to take on a top team and actually beat them in a full series? We're getting there. Competitive series again against Dallas. They take the first hard point in the Zia Cave in groups, and after that, they only lose up by like 50 points in the second hard point, and when it comes to the Dom, it's like a 10-15 point difference. Nothing crazy. They're getting there. They have a lot of work to do still, but I don't think the team change is actually going to make a difference.
Amos, attack that.
Man, I'm ready to go. I've got some points to be made. I'm going to argue them to the death.
I argued magic and astronomy. I mean, there were no good points in anything I said.
The search and destroy, his stats are better.
Search and destroy, Scumpo is like immensely better than Envoy was.
He had a 6.5.
At a different event. This is predicting the future. Can you not keep up?
I thought Florida was going to win that. Personally,
I mean,
everyone did.
They doubled their CDL points. That's amazing. What a huge success. If all the teams did that, that would be fantastic.
You ever watch that show Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah.
You guys ever watch that? Remember the first episode where it kind of broke down the universe and showed that big map? And it showed how long human beings have existed. It was like this tiny little like 1 minute fraction on the calendar. That's basically how long Ultra have been good. Say you think Octane's overrated.
Yo, I mean... Like Simp and Abizi realistically carried him to that championship. If you look back
Clay's gonna like that point.
I think you should lose points, by the way, if you don't understand how logic works.
I'm happy we're building his confidence up. I'm glad we gave him that one.
I don't know. I still think the Mutineers, I almost said Flukineers, which would have completely gone against my points.
This is all Hook had to do. When Hook spawned up yellow, he just had to do this.
Guess what? They don't even drop his controller. He wins his gunfights.
Yeah, I mean, they literally had to drop his controller.
Can't pick one moment.
And, hey, let me ask you this question. One last thing.
The nuke.
The nuke.
There's some magic in the air. There's some magic in the air. And somehow OpTic Gaming are going to get it done. Because this game has been filled with surprises, flukes, upsets. No one knows what the hell is going to happen on a day-to-day basis on this title. And that is why OpTic Gaming are going to make the run. And no one can stop it. Just like I guaranteed finally the Huntsmen FaZe matchup was going to happen, I now guarantee OpTic Gaming will be in the grand final. All hail Lord Slasher.
All right, well, clip it. I don't believe in magic. It's not going to happen.
No, it will be magical. The stars are going to align. Something's going to happen in astronomy up above us to make sure that this happens.
We'll see.
I believe. Wait, what are you doing? Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm going to toast Minnesota. Just a different angle to look at disappointment. I think you solidified that round, so I'll have to smoke you on this one to win. But hell, you made some good arguments, though. You almost changed my opinion there.
Who's cutting onions?
I don't even know what I just said. I blacked out, bro. They lost to Guerrillas.
Nameless, you have 60 seconds to pop off in our Astro Listen Up moment. What do you have to say to the people?
I don't know.
New York looked, to put it lightly, I'm not going to say that. My bad. I changed. I don't know why I wrote that. I wrote New York looked unwinnable in my notes.
This topic, I don't have a lot to say because this is hard, so that works for me.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, I just try to talk in circles, honestly. I just say until you get confused.
Yeah! I'm getting all choked up over here talking about these rookies. They're all grown up so fast. I think, oh my God.
This one is so hard. Let's see.
You would have said Dashy. You said Dashy was benched. Karma retired. Gunless was benched. I would have been like, F off.
Chance, what do you have to say to the people?
I never know. I have no idea. Not a clue. I hate this part.
All right, everybody, that does it for this episode of Contesting the Point. Thanks to everybody for watching. I hope you all continue to do well, and we'll see you later.